think one of the questions we ought to ask is not what are Catholics looking for, but what are former Catholics looking for? Yeah. I think we know that the largest self-identified religious affiliation in the United States is former Catholics. It's bigger than the Catholic Church and bigger than any other church. And so we have to ask ourselves, in the era of Vatican II, a council celebrated for its historic proportions, its dimensions that reached across new forms of language, new forms of theology, new forms of culture, new forms of ritual, new forms of relationship with other religions, and so on. What happened? What I think we have to be honest in saying what went wrong. We can look at all the things that have gone well. We can look at the explosion of lay movements. We can look at the thriving nature of the church in some Latin countries. We can look at the expansion of the church and its social service mission in many respects. So it's not to be a woe is me point, but we have to ask ourselves, why did so many people leave? What didn't they find? What haven't they found? What haven't we given them? What haven't we fed them with? I think with respect to the political dimensions of the council and the political dimensions of the church, I happen to think the crisis is a spiritual crisis. I think that what people didn't find in the church is food for their souls. I hate to put it as simply as that, but I think many people walk into church and they walk into rituals and they walk into rites and schools and they get told a lot of things about the gospel, about its exhortations, but they never get listened to. I don't think Bernard Lonergan, who I'm a huge fan of, writes beautifully about the fundamental question in religion is the question of God, not the answer of God. The question, I don't think Catholics feel that they get asked. The question of God, I don't think they feel licensed to ask it and to feel engaged in a search. I think that typically if they are Sunday Catholics, as many, I guess most are, they never speak on the gospel in their entire lives. They will never be asked their opinion of the gospel. I have 3 daughters raised in the church. They will grow up and reach their adult age without ever hearing a woman say the words of Mary in a Catholic church, ever. They will never hear the Magnificat spoken by a woman. They will never be asked to speak it, and they will never be asked to stand in front of anybody and share their points of view. So I think there's a great reciprocity needed, a great relational transformation needed in the church that invites people's inner lives into the discussion, not into a homily.